right, here's the house. Living space, 3 bedrooms. And the keen observer would notice that all of the sheetrock has actually gone off these back rooms. We were planning to leave that originally, but some of the sheetrock got damaged when pulling off the chair rail, and it turned out there was actually no insulation in the exterior walls. So they decided to pull it off, insulate, and then just give the sheetrockers a clean slate rather than just doing like patchwork sheetrock. And also we are dumping a decent amount of our savings into this, but we feel like it'll suit our needs for years to come. So for that, it's worth it.
Hey guys, it's Katie from Without a Crystal Ball. Welcome back to my channel. This is Wednesday, January 12th. I hope you're having a really good day. Listen, I'm not feeling the best. My eyes are puffy. I feel like I've got watery eyes. I've got a headache and I've got a stuffy nose and a sore throat. And I think I've got like the winter crud. And I am just like laying low, and I noticed that you really can't take a break when you do this job. I spent quite a bit of my day yesterday like laying in bed doing Instagram. So by the way, if you're not following me on Instagram, make sure that you do Without a Crystal Ball's Instagram. Now, we've been doing a lot of deep dives into the IBLP and the world of the Duggars for more than 2 years, and we've been talking a lot about the cult that they're involved in. And we've also done quite a bit of content on the trial and the sentence and the like guilty and all of that with Jessa Duggar. And now post-trial, there has been some of the girls have been returning to social media and getting back into the swing of their lives and trying to earn a living on social media. And Jessa returned yesterday, and she shared that she is getting a new house. So automatically there was a lot of questions about where is this house, who paid for the house, how did she get the house? And then she was getting bombarded on social media with questions about, you know, did her dad buy this house? Was this a gift from her dad? Is she bought by her dad? And Jessa obviously is at a point right now where she's definitely feeling frustrated, and she's snapping back a little bit more than normal. And listen, I can totally understand the pressure that she's probably feeling. And I also know that the Duggars as a whole are getting a lot of they're getting a lot of negativity from all directions. And so I can definitely understand like when you're feeling like the need to defend yourself, that you will. Jessa is probably one of the most vocal of the girls to be direct and snap back when people say things. And she was not holding back yesterday because she got a lot of flack about this video. Now, I have to remind you that they've been sitting on this content for months. She filmed this back in June, and so it's curious for her to release it this week simply because there's been some heavy news that's been coming out of the IBLP and their family connections to really horrible people and family members and friends that are involved in pretty horrible things. And their family doctor his daughter came out a couple days ago, like last week, and she accused him of SA. And so the Duggars haven't addressed that, and I don't know if they will, but this is a doctor that was their family doctor and took care of JL Duggar until the very end. So there's been a lot of people that are like, this is coming out over here and you guys are talking about your gender reveals and your houses. This is weird. So a lot of people feel like the Duggars are doing distraction, which, by the way, a lot of people on social media do. It's a way to control the narrative. So do I think that it's odd that they're releasing this now? Yes, but whatever. Let's get to what we're talking about with the actual video. So she is letting people know that she and her husband are moving into a new place, and the house was a fixer-upper, and she was completely like gutting it, and they basically like ripped the house apart down to the studs, and they put in some new framing, and they're remodeling it from like the whole in way out, like from the inside out.
This place up. Next up is raising the dining room floor. So I think this must have been a garage or something before now, and they're bringing it up to house level.
Just now finished doing the floor. So we bought a bunch of 2x12s, got those brought in, and then we installed the floor system. We haven't put the plywood on yet. Hopefully tomorrow, get all those. We have some lamb beams.
So it's a full remodel rehab. It's not just like a minor fixer-upper type of thing. And they also did some floor lifting and they added a master bedroom. And a lot of people immediately were in her comments asking her questions about like, where did this house come from? How did she afford this house? Is this a gift from her daddy? And what we did was I did some digging and sleuthing for you to figure out where this came from. And actually, after I spent most of the day trying to figure out where this was coming from, it was one of my subscribers that actually did some sleuthing themselves and were able to take a look at the outside photograph of the the video of the house, and we were able to determine that it looks like they're going to be moving into the house that is actually the parsonage house that's located at the church that Ben has been preaching at. So yes, Miss Jessa's husband is now a full-time pastor, and he works at Emmanuel Baptist Church in Springdale. And the church, which is located, like, I'm not sure where exactly it is, but they have a main like church. They have a little area that's like an off building, like where the offices are. And then in the back, they have a house. And the parsonage house is usually a house where a pastor and their family will live while they're working for the church. So it sounds like they will be moving into the parsonage house, and they have decided to remodel the parsonage house. Now, the question is whether or not they're paying for it or if the church is going to help pay for that, because they don't physically own the property. As far as I can tell, the home itself is still owned by Emmanuel Baptist Church. But from the outside, it looks exactly like the parsonage house, which is not uncommon for in the South pastors to live on property of where the church is located. And in this area as well, I was told that he has taken over a church that had I would say population that was a little bit older. And so because of that, they haven't had a lot of, it's considered like a church where their membership is going down. And so sometimes they will bring in a newer pastor, a younger pastor, to try to bring up the age and like bring in new families. And he is kind of working with them, I was told, to build the congregation back up. Now, Ben is still a conservative Baptist, and he is in the Reformed sect. So he is not a part of the IBLP, even though Jessa still is what would be considered a Arminian legalist. So they have different, although they're still married, they tend to have, as far as I was told, differences of opinion on their faith. But she is still supportive of his job as a pastor. So she is actually not getting a house that's from Jim Bob. So for those questioning, did she actually get this house from Jim Bob? It appears as no. Then I was getting questions from some of you guys in my comments about whether the church was affiliated with Jim Bob. So some of you assume that Ben only got this job because of Jim Bob. Well, again, I was told that's not true. I was actually told by someone that is friendly with the Duggars that Ben's belief system as a Calvinist Baptist is quite a bit different than his father-in-law, and this church is tied to a Baptist Fayetteville branch. It's like a sister church to a church in Fayetteville, and Ben had an affiliation with that area, and it's likely how he got tied into this church. That's what my source said. This is actually not from Jim Bob at all, I was told. So Ben has been doing this on his own and was kind of on this path by himself. But that hasn't stopped a lot of the comments coming in towards Jessa, and she has been clapping back in some of these comments about it. So someone said this, "Oh, Daddy finally bought you a new house, huh?" And she said, "He's never bought or given us a house. We live simply and save, and that's how we've acquired everything we own." So she's not actually lying here. Her dad has not given her anything or purchased anything for her, although the house that she did live in and she owns right now with Ben was from her grandmother, Mary. So her grandmother deeded this home to them back in 2017 or 2016, right around the time that they got married. And it's not clear if they paid for it or if it was a gift, but the house for sure was from a family member. And Mary was very close to Jim, and Mary instrumental in, flipping quite a few properties to the kids, or homes that were from her got sent to Jim Bob, and then Jim Bob gave them to the kids. And it's been well established that Jim Bob has used homes as, gifts for being on the show kind of thing, because some of them just were not paid. Or they weren't paid up until they had to take them to get paid. So another person said, what a nice gift from your daddy. And then she said, "That is stupid and an outright lie." So that's, again, not She says it's a lie that it's from her dad, and it's true. The house is not from her dad. It's a church-owned home. And then I was over on her YouTube page, and I noticed she was responding to comments there. Someone else said to her on her YouTube, gift from your dad, nice, as a question. And she said, that is so stupid and an outright lie. And that was to somebody completely different. So to two separate people, she said that was stupid and an outright lie. And then someone questioned whether or not they're pulling permits. And she said they better be bringing in professionals to do the passing of the constructions. And you better have permits for what you're doing because you're changing the structure of the house. And then you need permits and permission to do the backyard in the master bedroom. And when Jessa shut off the bathroom light, she was pregnant. Are you still pregnant with your fourth, or are you pregnant again? Your body needs rest, girl. And she said, yes, we're pulling permits. No, I'm not pregnant, and thank you for your concern. And it's weird because most of the things that she was actually responding to were negative comments. Another comment that she responded to was, let's be real here. If you didn't have your siblings helping y'all with your home, you would have been able, how would you have been able to afford this on your own? Either or, congratulations all around, God bless. And she says, yes, we can afford it as we choose to live simply, and we have been saving for years. And no, my siblings aren't working for free. I'm sure they would offer to, but we won't allow it. Even though they're family, they're taking time out of their schedule to help us, and we don't take that for granted. And the worker is worth his wages. And then finally, someone said, how did you buy a house when you're both unemployed? And she said, my husband works a full-time job. Matter of a fact, since he graduated high school, he has always worked a job, even while studying to get his college degree. Those are rumors that simply are not true. Okay, so Ben has worked. He worked for the Duggars. He was doing their tutoring for some time. He also worked for Michelle. He's had other jobs that he's had as well, and now he's working as a pastor. Now, in this area, I was told pastors do make money, but it's not a super high wage. But you guys, in fairness, if Jessa now has control of her social media, which I hope she does, she could be making money off of her YouTube, and she could be making money on her Instagram. She could be getting paid for sponsorships. She could be making advertisement revenue. So this idea that she's not working isn't necessarily true. It's just not the same sort of work that you guys would think of. It's no different than me making content on my YouTube channel. We're all getting paid to do this. So she's making money, and hopefully Jim Bob is not taking that money from her. So Jessa, for in this instance, maybe not totally honest, because Mary did give her the house that she and Ben lived in, and that house was actually lived in by Josh and Anna lived there, although they never owned it. So the house had been in the family for a very long time. It was actually at one point owned by Michelle's dad, and then they deeded it to her, and then it was sent to Mary, and it was a rental for a while. And now it's Ben and Jessa's, and that house is sitting on a corner on a property lot near the interstate highway, and I was told could have considerable property value if they decide to sell it. For instance, someone suggested that if they decided to sell it, what they could do is try to have it rezoned for commercial and have a gas station put on in that property, because it's literally right next to the interstate. I don't know if that's possible. I don't know if they could get the ordinance to change it, but anything here. So she has her own home, which is probably not worth a whole lot, but then there's a whole adjacent lot next to hers that they also own along with their property. So no, is Jessa getting this house from her dad? No. Is she benefiting from her brother who has construction business? Yes. Is she paying her brother for his work? She says yes. Is he probably giving her a discount? I'm sure. I mean, it's in the family. Is she paying for this? That part I really don't know, because if this is a parsonage house, the church might also be paying a portion of this, or I don't understand, if you don't own the house, doing the renovations, who would pay for that if it's owned by the church? I would think that the church would be somewhat involved in it, since they're responsible for the upkeep of the home. Unless, for instance, they brought it to them and said that they were going to do it, and then the church was like, okay. I would assume she's paying for at least some of it, and maybe using Jason helps her save some of that money. Jason is a licensed builder, and I know she said that they pulled permits. I was not able to find any, but that doesn't mean they don't exist. I just couldn't find in Springdale, for instance. Benton County, the other county near them, you can actually see who's applied for permits. In Springdale, they don't have a system like that, but I would assume they're doing permits. I mean, they typically do get permits when they do their construction remodels, and especially if he's using his license to do this, he would want to be doing everything correctly, which Jason seems to follow these rules when he's doing his work. And you guys, Jason's a pretty talented builder. I don't know if you've seen any of the houses he's built. He has a pretty nice aesthetic, and he does a good job. So, I mean, if your brother was a builder, wouldn't you use them too? I mean, we can be hard about them on some things, but in this case, I'd say go easy on her. She's not using her dad, which is a good thing. Jason is a lot more independent than the rest of his brothers. Jason has one foot in his big boy pants, and Jessa is taking steps to be independent from her dad. So that's all good things for Jessa. Will she get out from under his control? I mean, it certainly looks like she's trying to move forward and take care of herself and her own family and not be so controlled by her father. So in that respect, we will be remaining hopeful. Is Ben a part of this IBLP world? I don't think he ever has been. Is Jessa out yet? I don't really know yet. So that remains unknown. But for now, the house is not Jim Bob Duggar's. It comes from the church, and he's a pastor there, and a lot of pastors live in homes owned by churches. All right, you guys, tell me what your thoughts are about all of this in the comments below. Bye, guys.